Humans have been eating wild mushrooms for many centuries. But did you know that Stone Age people ate wild mushrooms? A recent Spanish discovery of human female remains, buried about 19,000 years ago, revealed mushroom spores embedded in her teeth. So, we humans have been enjoying the pleasures of wild mushrooms for a long time. In this video you will discover the delights of finding and feasting on wild mushrooms. The oyster wild mushroom has a cap that is shaped like the bivalve of a sea oyster, hence its name. It grows worldwide in temperate and subtropical forests, on dead or dying hardwood trees, such as dogwood, beech, and oak. These fungi appear in spring and fall in colder climates but are prominent year-round in warmer locations. In addition to the bivalve shape, the cap spans between 2 and 8 inches, 50 to 200 millimeters. Oysters have stubby stems, although sometimes these are non-existent. The undersides of the caps have closely spaced gills, that are white or tan, and extend down the stem. These mushrooms, in the wild, can have cap colors from white to gray or sometimes light to dark brown. The flesh is firm and white but varies in thickness, while the rim has a wave-like shape. Ivory funnel. Ivory funnel wild mushrooms have a small funnel-shaped cap. This cap is white or white with a buff-colored dusting. It grows in grassy areas such as meadows and has gills like an oyster mushroom. It is also known as the sweating mushroom, as when ingested causes sweat, salivation, and tears. Other symptoms are nausea and diarrhea. Chicken of the woods, or sulfur shelf, has a bright yellow-orange color. And, sometimes, it comes with light orange edges. It grows in most parts of the world, generally on oak trees, but it also appears on chestnut and willow trees. The species can, as well, develop on fallen trees and usually shows up from late spring through early fall. The edges of the cap are best for eating as they are tender, meaty, and taste like chicken. Although chicken of the woods is not lethal, it can cause swollen lips and, rarely, nausea and vomiting. Sensible advice is to eat small quantities initially to determine if any adverse effects become apparent. Never consume chicken of the woods raw, thoroughly cook it before eating. Chicken of the woods grows in multi-layered shelves. Individual shelves can be from 2 to 10 inches, 50 to 250 millimeters, across and up to 8 inches, 200 millimeters, deep. The caps are fan-like or semicircular. And, the caps can be either smooth or wrinkled, and the undersides are devoid of gills. Young and healthy specimens are moist and rubbery to the touch, a bit like suede. These specimens are the prized items. But older ones, identified by faded color and hardness, should be avoided. Stump blossoms. Stump blossoms look like and chicken of the woods do have similarities, which are multi-layered shelves, large fruiting bodies. Caps are fan-like or semicircular. But there are also distinct differences between the two, as stump blossoms have a white underside that runs down the stem, a creamy-colored cap that often has brown edges, a stem that is stubby and short. This lookalike, although not toxic, is inedible as it has an unpleasant aroma and flavor. Morels from the wild are one of the most sumptuous tasting mushrooms that you are likely to come across. Because of their meaty flavor and texture, they are a favorite of meat eaters and vegetarians alike. You will find these mushrooms on the rough ground near ash, elm, and spruce trees. Also, recently burnt out forest areas are ideal habitats to find morels. Morels have caps that are elongated cone or egg-shaped. They are hollow, rubbery, and more brittle than other fungi. And they have a distinctive honeycomb appearance with ridges and pits over the surface of the cap. The cap is usually 1 to 3 inches, 20 to 70 millimeters, across, and the height is from 2.5 to 6 inches, 65 to 150 millimeters. The color can be blonde, light brown, gray, or dark brown. The stems are short and stubby, sometimes, they are bulkier at the base. False morel. The false morel appears in the spring and is highly toxic. Only a small amount is enough to be deadly. This fungus has a red-brown cap which is lobed, something like a brain. This mushroom's toxin affects the nervous system and causes damage to the liver and kidneys. And, death may follow. The easiest way to determine a false morel from a true morel is by cutting them both in half. A true morel has a hollow interior, a false morel does not. Searching for wild mushrooms can be a demanding but rewarding experience. But when on a foraging trip, you must always be mindful of the hazards of those dangerous lookalike mushrooms. So, always have a guidebook with you when on a foraging trip to identify the lookalikes.